The classroom was cold. Minho sat in the third row, his hands folded on the metal desk. Around him sat cadets from dozens of different worlds. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some had skin colors he had never seen before coming to space. 3 years ago, humans had joined the Interstellar Coalition. 3 years was not very long. Minho was 22 years old. Before the military found him, he had lived in Seoul. He had fought in underground rings for money. His knuckles still carried the scars. The academy had given him a uniform and a chance, but it had not given him respect. Next to him sat Jiwoo. She was small but smart. Her fingers were always moving, always thinking. She worked with machines and computers. She was one of the few humans who could keep up with the alien technology. She caught Minho looking around and gave him a small smile. He did not smile back. Something felt wrong today. At the front of the room stood Commander Velrax. He was Krithian. His species looked like the lizards from Earth, but bigger, much bigger. He stood 7 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes. His teeth were sharp when he spoke. He had been teaching combat doctrine for 20 years. He did not like humans. Today we discuss pain compliance, Velrax said. His voice was deep and rough. In Krithian culture, we learn through experience. We learn through feeling. Words are cheap. Pain teaches truth. The alien cadets nodded. They had heard this before. The humans sat very still. There were only 15 humans in a class of 60 cadets. They had learned to be quiet. Velrax walked between the desks. His claws clicked on the floor. Some species are soft, he continued. They think training should be safe. They think warriors can be made with kind words and simulation games. He looked directly at the human section. These species do not belong in combat roles. Minho felt his jaw tighten. Jiwoo put a hand on his arm. Not worth it, her touch said. He forced himself to breathe slowly. Let me demonstrate proper teaching, Velrax said. He stopped walking. His eyes scanned the human cadets. They landed on Hyunwoo. Hyunwoo was the smallest human in class. He was thin and gentle. He wanted to be a medic. He believed in helping people, not hurting them. He had kind eyes and a soft voice. He was Minho's roommate. He was his friend, you. Velrax pointed at Hyunwoo. Stand up. Hyunwoo stood slowly. His face was pale. Yes, Commander? Come here. The classroom was completely silent now. Even the alien cadets who usually whispered had stopped. Everyone watched as Hyunwoo walked to the front. His steps were small and careful. Tell the class, Velrax said, circling Hyunwoo like a predator. What would you do if an enemy attacked you? I would defend myself, Commander, Hyunwoo said quietly. Would you? How you are small. You are weak. You have no claws, no natural armor, no venom. Velrax leaned down. His face was inches from Hyunwoo's. You are prey, not a predator. I would use my training, Commander. Training. Velrax laughed. It was not a kind sound. Let me show you what happens to the weak in real combat. Everything happened very fast. Velrax's hand moved like a striking snake. The back of his scaled hand hit Hyunwoo across the face. The sound was terrible. It echoed in the quiet room like a gunshot. Hyunwoo's head snapped to the side. His body followed. He fell to the floor and did not move. For a moment the world stopped. Then Minho was on his feet. His chair crashed backward. His hands were fists. Every muscle in his body was tight. He took one step toward Velrax. Then another. Jiwoo grabbed his arm. Don't, she whispered urgently. Minho, don't. Other cadets were standing now. Human and alien both. 2 instructors ran to Hyunwoo. He was on the ground, not moving. Blood ran from his mouth. His jaw was bent at a wrong angle. Sit down, Cadet Kim, Velrax said calmly. He was not even breathing hard. Unless you want to be next. Minho stared at him. His vision was red at the edges. He had hurt people before. In the fighting rings, he had broken bones and drawn blood. But that was different. Those people had chosen to fight. Hyunwoo had done nothing. He had just answered a question. Minho, Jiwoo pulled harder on his arm. Please. Instructor Choi burst into the room. He was human, older, with gray in his hair. He had been a soldier before becoming a teacher. He took one look at Hyunwoo on the floor and his face went hard. Get him to medical now, Choi ordered. 2 cadets lifted Hyunwoo carefully. His eyes were closed. Blood dripped on the floor as they carried him out. Choi turned to Velrax. What happened here? A demonstration, Velrax said. He did not sound worried. I was teaching about pain compliance. The cadet learned an important lesson about weakness. You struck a student. I used traditional Crithian teaching methods. The Coalition Charter protects cultural instruction practices. Article 12, Section 7. Velrak smiled. His sharp teeth showed. Check if you like. Choi's hands were fists too. But he said nothing. He knew Velrax was right. The Coalition had rules. Different species had different ways. What seemed cruel to humans was normal to others. The law protected that. Class dismissed, Choi said quietly. The cadets filed out. Nobody spoke. The humans walked together, close and quiet. Minho was the last to leave. He stopped at the door and looked back. Velrax was cleaning Hyunwoo's blood off his hand with a cloth. He saw Minho watching and smiled. Outside the classroom, the human cadets gathered in a tight group. Jiwoo still held Minho's arm. Are you okay? She asked. No, Minho said. His voice was flat and cold. I'm not okay. We need to file a complaint, said Sunhae. She was smart, tactical, always thinking 3 steps ahead. There has to be something we can do. There isn't, Instructor Choi said. He had followed them out. I already checked. Velrax followed the rules. Crithian teaching includes physical discipline. The Coalition recognizes it as legal. That wasn't discipline, Minho said. That was assault. I know, Choi said. His voice was tired. But our hands are tied. If you fight back, if you do anything, they'll kick all of us out. They're looking for reasons to say humans don't belong here. Maybe we don't, said one of the other cadets. Maybe we should just go home. No. Minho's voice was hard. That's what he wants. He wants us to quit. He wants to prove we're too weak for this. A message came through on Jiwoo's datapad. She looked at it and her face went white. It's about Hyunwoo, she said quietly. His jaw is broken in 3 places. They can fix it, but the nerve damage is permanent. He can't be a combat medic anymore. They're sending him home. Nobody spoke. Hyunwoo had dreamed of being a medic since he was a child. He had studied for years. He had passed every test. And now, in 1 second, it was over. Minho turned and walked away. He did not go to his next class. He went to the observation deck. It was empty. Outside the window, stars moved slowly past. He stood there for a long time, thinking. He thought about Hyunwoo's kind smile. He thought about Velrax's sharp teeth and yellow eyes. He thought about the rules that protected cruelty and called it culture. Jiwoo found him an hour later. She stood next to him and did not say anything at first. They just watched the stars together. What are you going to do? She finally asked. I don't know yet, Minho said. But I'm going to do something. Be careful, Jiwoo said. Velrax is dangerous. And he's protected. I know. Minho's reflection looked back at him from the window. His face was calm now. The rage had settled into something colder and harder. But so am I. That night, Minho could not sleep. Hyunwoo's bed was empty. The room felt too big and too quiet. Minho lay in the dark and made plans. He thought about what Instructor Choi had said. About rules and laws. About how fighting back would get them all kicked out. But there were always rules. Even in the underground fighting rings, there had been rules. And Minho had learned something important there. If you were smart, you could use the rules. You could make them work for you instead of against you. He just needed to find the right rule. Minho got up and turned on his computer. He started reading. The Coalition military code was thousands of pages long. But Minho had time. And he had patience. And somewhere in those thousands of pages there had to be something he could use. Outside his window, the stars kept moving. The station kept spinning. And Commander Velrak slept peacefully, thinking he had won. 2 weeks passed. Hyunwoo was gone. They had sent him back to Earth with medical papers and an honorable discharge. Before he left, he came to say goodbye. His jaw was wired shut. He could not speak well. But his eyes said everything. Minho had hugged him and promised that this meant something. That his pain would not be forgotten. Now his bed sat empty. Minho had a new roommate, a cadet from Europa named Riku. He was quiet and kept to himself. That was fine. Minho needed time to think anyway. The human cadets had filed their complaints. 3 different forms, sent to 5 different offices. Every response was the same. Commander Velrax had acted within his cultural rights. No rules were broken. Case closed, but things had changed. Velrax smiled more now. He walked through the halls like he owned them. And he had started something new. Special training sessions for humans only. It's for your own good, he said during combat class. You are behind the other species. You need extra work. The special training was held every evening in Gym 7. It was far from the main buildings. Only humans attended, and only Velrax taught. Minho went to the first session. So did Jiwoo and 10 other human cadets. Velrax made them run obstacle courses designed for Crithians. The walls were too high. The gaps were too wide. The weights were too heavy. When they failed, Velrax laughed. When they fell, he called them weak. This is what real training looks like, he said. This is why humans will never be warriors. One cadet, a girl named Yoonji, twisted her ankle on a jump meant for species with longer legs. Velrax did not let her stop. He made her finish on the injured leg. Later in medical, they told her it was a stress fracture. She would be on light duty for 6 weeks. Another accident, the medical officer wrote in his report. Nobody investigated. The harassment spread beyond Velrax. His nephew, a Crithian cadet named Raxtel, began targeting humans in the common areas. He would bump into them in hallways. He would take their food in the dining hall. He would mock them in front of other species. My uncle is right, Raxtel said one day, loud enough for everyone to hear. Humans are just smart animals. They should stick to office work. Some of the alien cadets laughed. Others looked uncomfortable but said nothing. The humans learned to eat quickly and leave fast. They learned to walk in groups. They learned to avoid certain areas at certain times. Minho watched all of this. He attended every special training session. He took notes on everything Velrax did. He studied Crithian anatomy in the library. He watched videos of their combat sports. He learned how they moved, how they fought, how they thought, Jiwoo noticed. You're planning something, she said one night. They were in the library, supposedly studying tactical theory. I can see it in your eyes. Maybe, Minho said. Tell me. He looked around. They were alone in their corner. Velrax is building a case, Minho said quietly. He's documenting everything. Every time a human fails his special training, every injury, every mistake, he's going to present it to the Coalition Defense Council. How do you know? I broke into his office files. Jiwoo's eyes went wide. Minho, that's illegal, I know. But I was careful, and I needed to know what he was planning. Minho pulled up a file on his datapad. Look at this. He's got reports on every human cadet. He's tracking failure rates, injury rates, stress test results. He's comparing us to every other species. Why? He wants to get humans banned from combat roles permanently. He's presenting his findings in 3 weeks. Jiwoo read through the files. Her face grew darker with each page. This is all manipulated data. He's designing tests we can't pass. He's setting us up to fail. I know. We have to tell someone. Instructor Choi or Admiral Thorvik and show them files I stole? They'll expel me, maybe all of us. Minho shook his head. No, we need a different way. What way? Minho was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I need to challenge him, officially, in a way he can't refuse. A fight? Minho, he's twice your size. He's a trained Crithian warrior. He'll kill you. Not if I'm smarter. This is crazy. Maybe. Minho looked at her. But what choice do we have? In 3 weeks, he presents his case. The council will believe him. We'll be restricted to support roles forever. Is that what you want? Jiwoo was quiet. She looked down at her hands. No, she finally said. But I don't want you dead either. I won't die. I just need to beat him once. Just once in front of everyone. Then his whole case falls apart. How? I'm still working on that part. Over the next week, Minho trained harder than ever. He woke up at 5 every morning and ran. He practiced fighting moves in empty training rooms. He studied Crithian physiology until his eyes hurt. He learned about their joint structures, their muscle attachments, their nerve clusters. He learned where they were strong and, more importantly, where they were weak. Every species had weaknesses. The key was finding them. He also studied the Coalition military code. There were thousands of rules and regulations. Most were boring, but Minho was patient. He read every page. And on day 9, he found what he was looking for, Article 47, the Challenge Protocol. It was old, written centuries ago when the Coalition was young. It said that any cadet could challenge an instructor's teaching methods through sanctioned combat. The idea was to prevent bad teachers from abusing students. If a cadet won the challenge, the instructor's methods were reviewed. If the instructor won, the challenge was dismissed. The rule was almost never used anymore. Most species had better ways to handle complaints, but it was still there. Still legal, still binding. Minho read it 10 times to be sure. Then he read it 10 more times. This could work, he said to himself. He showed it to Jiwoo that night. She read it carefully. Have you ever heard of anyone actually using this? No, but that doesn't mean I can't. The combat is sanctioned. That means official. With witnesses, recorded. I know. If you lose, it proves everything Velrax has been saying. It proves humans are weak. I won't lose. How can you be so sure? Minho looked at her. His eyes were hard. Because I have to be. Soon-hee, the tactical genius, helped him plan. You need to challenge him in a way he can't refuse, she said. If you just ask for a fight, he can say no. How do I make him say yes? You need to make it about honor. Krithians care about honor. Challenge his teaching ability in front of others. Question his competence. Make it so that refusing looks weak. That's risky. Everything about this is risky, Sun-hee said. But it's our only chance. Instructor Choi found out about the plan 3 days before Minho was ready. He pulled Minho aside after class. His face was serious. I heard what you're planning, Choi said. From who? Doesn't matter. Minho, this is a bad idea. It's the only idea. You'll get yourself killed. Or worse, you'll lose and prove everything Velrax wants to prove. You'll set back human integration by years. Or I'll win and change everything. Choi was quiet. He looked old and tired. I can't stop you, can I? No, sir. Then at least promise me you'll be smart about it. Don't let anger make you stupid. I promise. Choi put a hand on Minho's shoulder. For what it's worth, I think you're brave. Crazy but brave. Thank you, sir. That evening, Minho attended another special training session. Velrax was in fine form. He made them climb a wall designed for species with adhesive hands. When they fell, he laughed. He called them clumsy. He called them pathetic. At the end of the session, when the other humans had left, Minho stayed behind. Commander Velrax, he said. I have a request. Velrax turned. He looked surprised that Minho had spoken. What is it, Cadet? I would like private instruction. In Krithian combat philosophy. Velrax's eyes narrowed. Why? Because clearly I don't understand it. I want to learn. I want to understand how a real warrior thinks. The words tasted like poison in Minho's mouth, but he kept his face neutral. Velrax studied him for a long moment. Then he smiled. His sharp teeth showed. Finally, a human with some sense. You want to learn respect? Yes, Commander. Very well. Tomorrow evening. Training room 12. Come alone. Thank you, Commander. Minho walked away. His heart was pounding. His hands were steady. Tomorrow evening, everything would change. One way or another. Jiwoo found him in his room later. You asked him? Yes, and he said yes. He thinks I want to learn from him. He thinks I'm giving up. What if he really hurts you? What if this is a trap? It probably is a trap, Minho said. But it's the only way to get him alone. To challenge him properly. Jiwoo sat on Hyunwoo's empty bed. I'm scared, she said quietly. Me too. Then why are you doing this? Minho thought about Hyunwoo's broken jaw, about Unji's fractured ankle, about every small humiliation and casual cruelty, about the future Velrax wanted to create, where humans were second-class citizens forever. Because someone has to, he said, and nobody else will. That night, Minho did not sleep. He went over the plan again and again. He thought about what he would say, how he would stand, where he would strike first. He thought about 100 things that could go wrong, but he also thought about what could go right. About Velrax's face when he realized he had lost, about the look in other cadets' eyes when they saw a human win, about the future that might be possible if he could just be fast enough, smart enough, strong enough. Tomorrow evening. Training room 12. Everything would be decided there. Minho was ready. Training room 12 was small and private. It was used for individual instruction, far from the main gymnasium. The walls were bare metal. The floor was padded. There were no windows. Just harsh white lights overhead. Minho arrived exactly on time. He wore his training uniform. His hands were wrapped. He had eaten lightly and stretched thoroughly. His body was ready. His mind was focused. Velrax was already there. He stood in the center of the room with his arms crossed. In the private space, he looked even bigger. His shadow stretched across the floor. Good, Velrax said. You are punctual. That is the first lesson. A warrior respects time. Yes, Commander, Minho said. He bowed slightly. The gesture felt wrong, but it was necessary. For now. Today I will teach you about pain, Velrak said. He began to circle Minho slowly. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is information.
It tells you where you are weak.
It tells you what you must improve. Do you understand? I think so, Commander. You think? Thinking is not understanding. Let me show you. Velrax moved fast. His hand shot out and struck Minho in the ribs. Not hard enough to break anything, but hard enough to hurt. Minho stumbled backward, gasping. That is pain, Velrax said. What did it teach you? Minho straightened up. His side ached. That I was not guarding my right side. Good. You learn. Again. The next strike came from the left. Then another to the shoulder. Then one to the leg. Each one hurt. Each one left a bruise. But none were serious injuries. Velrax was playing with him, teaching him a lesson about power and control, you see? Velrax said, I could hurt you badly. But I do not. I am showing restraint. This is what separates a warrior from a savage. A warrior chooses when to use his strength. Minho said nothing. He absorbed each strike. He studied how Velrax moved. The commander was fast for his size. His reach was long. His strength was obvious. But he was also arrogant. He did not see Minho as a threat. He saw him as a student, as prey. Your species is weak, Velrax continued. He struck Minho again, this time in the stomach. You have no natural weapons. No claws, no fangs, no armor. Evolution did not make you for fighting. It made you for running away, Minho coughed. He tasted blood in his mouth. Then why do you train us at all, Commander? Because the Coalition demands it. Because politics require it. Velrax grabbed Minho by the front of his uniform and lifted him off the ground. But I will show the Council the truth. In 2 weeks I present my findings. I will prove that humans do not belong in combat roles. You will be clerks and technicians. Safe jobs for safe species. He dropped Minho. Minho landed on his feet, but barely. His legs shook. And there is nothing you can do to stop me, Velrax said. He was smiling now. Your complaints were ignored. Your protests mean nothing. I have followed every rule perfectly. The Coalition protects my methods, and soon they will protect the galaxy from human weakness. What about the cadets you hurt? Minho asked. He kept his voice steady. Hyunwoo, Yunji, the others. Accidents. Training injuries. These things happen. Velrax shrugged. They were not strong enough. That is not my fault. You broke Hyunwoo's jaw. I taught him a lesson about reality. The lesson was harsh but necessary. If he had gone into real combat, he would have died. I saved his life by showing him the truth. Minho looked at Velrax. Really looked at him. He saw the certainty in those yellow eyes. Velrax truly believed he was right. He believed he was helping. In his mind, cruelty was kindness. Pain was education. Might made right. You know what I think, Commander? Minho said quietly. What? I think you're afraid. Velrax's smile disappeared. What did you say? I think you're afraid of humans. Not because we're strong, because we're different. We don't fit into your rules about predators and prey. We don't have claws, but we made weapons. We don't have armor, but we made ships. We're not the biggest or the fastest, but we're here anyway, and that scares you. You dare. Velrax took a step forward. I challenge you, Minho said. His voice was loud and clear now. Under Article 47 of the Coalition Military Code, I challenge your teaching methods through sanctioned combat. Velrax stopped. He stared at Minho. For a moment he looked confused. Then he started laughing. It was a deep rumbling sound that filled the room. Article 47? That ancient rule? Nobody has used that in decades. But it's still legal. You want to fight me? Officially? In front of witnesses? Velrax laughed harder. You really are stupid, and I'm serious, Commander. I am formally challenging you. You can accept or refuse. But if you refuse, it goes on record. Everyone will know that you were afraid to face a weak human. The laughter stopped. Velrax's eyes narrowed. I am not afraid of anything. Then prove it. Accept the challenge. If I do this, I will hurt you. Badly. The combat is sanctioned, but accidents happen. You could be crippled. You could die. I understand the risks. And when I defeat you, when I break you in front of the entire Academy, it will prove everything I have said. It will prove that humans are weak. It will end any argument about your place in the Coalition. You will destroy your own species' future. Or I will win, Minho said, and your entire case falls apart. Velrax studied him. Minho could see the calculations happening behind those alien eyes. Velrax was weighing options. If he refused, he looked weak. If he accepted and won, he got everything he wanted plus the satisfaction of crushing Minho publicly. If he accepted and lost. But that was impossible. How could he lose? He was bigger, stronger, trained since birth in Crithian combat arts. Very well, Velrax said slowly. I accept your challenge. We will do this properly. Official combat arena, full witness protocols. Tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow? Are you having second thoughts already? Velrax smiled. Tomorrow gives you one night to reconsider, to withdraw, to run away like your species does best. If you do not appear, the challenge is forfeit. Everyone will know you were a coward. I'll be there. Then we are agreed. I will file the official paperwork tonight. The Admiral will be notified. The combat will be recorded. And tomorrow everyone will see the truth about humanity. Velrax walked to the door. He stopped and looked back. Thank you, Cadet Kim. You have given me a perfect gift. Not only will I prove humans are weak in my report, I will demonstrate it in combat. The Council will have no choice but to restrict your species, and it will be your own fault. He left. The door closed with a heavy sound. Minho stood alone in the training room. His body ached from the strikes. His ribs hurt. His stomach felt sick. But his mind was clear. He had done it. The challenge was official now. Tomorrow at noon, everything would be decided. He pulled out his datapad and sent a message to Jiwoo. Just 3 words. It is done. The response came back immediately. Oh no. Minho left the training room and went to the observation deck. He needed to think. The deck was empty as usual. Outside the windows, stars drifted past in the darkness. He stood there for a long time, footsteps behind him. He turned. Jiwoo was there, and Sunhee and Instructor Choi. More humans came. Within 10 minutes, all 15 human cadets stood on the observation deck. We heard, Jiwoo said. The challenge paperwork is already filed. The whole academy knows. News travels fast, Minho said. Are you insane? One of the cadets asked. His name was Junho. Velrax will kill you. Maybe. This is suicide. Maybe. Then why are you doing it? Junho's voice was rising. Why are you throwing away your life? Why are you risking everything? Minho looked at all of them. His fellow humans. His friends. They looked scared. They looked worried. They looked at him like he was already dead. Because I'm tired, Minho said quietly. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of avoiding hallways and eating fast and keeping quiet. I'm tired of watching them hurt us and being told it's legal. I'm tired of rules that protect bullies and punish victims. We're all tired, Jiwoo said. But this isn't the answer. What is the answer then? More complaints? More reports? More waiting? Minho shook his head. Velrax was right about one thing. Words are cheap. Everyone keeps telling us to follow the rules and be patient. But the rules are broken. They were made by species who think might makes right, who think strength is the only thing that matters. So you're going to fight strength with strength? No, I'm going to fight strength with skill. With intelligence. With everything that makes us human. Minho looked back at the stars. We're not the biggest or the strongest. But we're here. We survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. We did that not because we were predators. We did it because we were smart. Because we worked together. Because we never gave up. Nobody spoke for a moment, then soon he said, you need help. You need strategy. I have strategy. Let me see it. They spent the next 3 hours on the observation deck. Soon he reviewed everything Minho had learned about Crithian anatomy. Jiwoo pulled up combat videos from his training sessions. Instructor Choi, despite his concerns, offered advice on fighting larger opponents. Stay mobile, Choi said. Don't let him grab you. If he gets his hands on you, it's over. I know. Aim for joints and nerve clusters. You're not going to win a power contest. You need to be precise, I know. And Minho? Choi looked serious. Don't let anger control you. Anger makes you stupid. You need to be cold, clinical. Every move needs to be calculated. I understand. They planned until midnight. When everyone finally left, Jiwoo stayed behind. I'm scared, she said. The arena was full. Minho had not expected that. He thought maybe a few dozen people would come. Instead, hundreds of cadets packed the viewing galleries. Every species was represented. Some came to watch a human get destroyed. Some came out of curiosity. A very few, came hoping for something different. The arena itself was circular, 30 meters across with padded floors and plain walls. There were no weapons, no obstacles, nothing but open space. Above, cameras recorded everything. This fight would be stored in Coalition records forever. Minho stood at the south entrance. He wore simple training clothes. No armor, no protection. His hands were wrapped in white cloth. He had eaten nothing since last night. His stomach was empty and his mind was clear. Across the arena, Velrax entered from the north. The crowd cheered. Many of the alien cadets chanted his name. He raised his arms and roared. It was a deep, primal sound that made the air vibrate. He looked enormous. His muscles rippled under green scales. His claws caught the light. He looked like what he was, a predator at the top of the food chain. Admiral Thorvik floated into the center. He was Turellian, an insectoid species with multiple arms and compound eyes. He served as referee, his voice amplified through speakers around the arena. This is sanctioned combat under Article 47 of the Coalition Military Code, Thorvik announced. Cadet Minho Kim has challenged Commander Velrax's teaching methodology. The combat will continue until one fighter yields, is knocked unconscious, or cannot continue. Lethal force is prohibited, but injury is expected. Medical teams stand ready. Minho looked up at the galleries. He found the human section. Jiwoo was there, her hands pressed against the glass. Soon he sat beside her with a data pad, probably taking notes. Instructor Choi stood at the back, his face unreadable. All 15 human cadets were present. They looked terrified. Fighters approach, Thorvik commanded. Minho walked to the center. Each step was measured and calm. His heart was beating fast, but his breathing was steady. Velrax approached from the other side. He was smiling. Last chance to quit, Velrax said quietly. Yield now. I will make it quick. No, Minho said. Then you will learn pain. Thorvik raised one of his arms. The challenge begins on my signal. Fight with honor. He paused. Begin. Velrax attacked immediately. He closed the distance in 3 long strides. His fist came down like a hammer. Minho rolled to the side. The fist hit the floor where he had been standing. The impact left a dent in the padding. The crowd roared. Minho scrambled away. He needed space. Needed time. Velrax came after him, relentless. Another punch. Minho ducked. A kick. Minho jumped back. Every attack was powerful enough to end the fight in one hit. Every attack was also slightly wild. Velrax was used to fighting opponents who traded blows, who stood and tested strength against strength. Minho was not doing that. He was running, dodging, avoiding. Stand still, coward, Velrax shouted. Minho did not reply. He circled the arena. Velrax followed, always attacking, never stopping. Punch, kick, grab, punch again. The pattern was aggressive but predictable. Velrax fought like someone who had never lost, like someone who expected enemies to break under his assault. In the galleries, some aliens started booing. The human is just running, someone shouted. This is pathetic. Minho ignored them. He was counting, watching, learning. Every fighter had patterns. Every style had weaknesses. Velrax favored his right side. His left foot planted heavier. After combinations, he took a small breath, and his eyes always telegraphed his next move a half-second early. Are you going to fight or just run away? Velrax taunted. This is what humans do best. Run and hide! Minho stopped moving. He stood in the center of the arena. His chest was rising and falling. He looked tired. Velrax's smile grew wider. Finally, Velrax said. He charged forward like a bull. Minho waited. At the last second, he sidestepped. Velrax's momentum carried him past. Minho's foot swept out and caught Velrax's ankle. The commander stumbled. Just for a moment. Just enough, Minho struck. His fist hit the nerve cluster behind Velrax's knee. It was a precise strike to a specific location that Minho had memorized from anatomy texts. Velrax's leg buckled. The crowd went silent. Velrax caught himself before falling. He spun around. His face showed surprise for the first time. You little... He swung a backhand. Minho ducked under it and struck again, this time to the side of Velrax's ribs where the scales were thinner. It was not a power blow. It was a targeted blow. It hit a pressure point that made Velrax's entire right side go numb for a moment. Velrax roared, not in triumph now, in anger. He attacked with fury, all technique forgotten. Wild swings meant to crush and destroy. Minho gave ground. He let Velrax chase him. Let him burn energy. Let him get angrier and sloppier. Stand and fight. Velrax bellowed. 3 minutes passed. Then 5, then 10. Velrax was breathing hard now. His attacks were slower. The early confidence was gone, replaced with frustration. He had landed only glancing blows. Minho had welts and bruises, but nothing serious. Every time Velrax thought he had him cornered, Minho slipped away. And every time Minho moved, he struck back. Quick jabs to nerve points. Hard kicks to joints. Precise strikes that did not look impressive, but accumulated damage. Velrax's left arm was not moving as well. His right leg was dragging slightly. His breathing was labored. In the galleries, the mood changed. The booing stopped. People leaned forward. This was not going the way anyone expected. "What is that human doing?" an alien cadet whispered. "He's killing him slowly," another replied. "Like a predator bleeding prey." Velrax realized it too. He could see his own hands shaking, could feel his body not responding correctly. The human had not beaten him with strength. The human was dismantling him piece by piece. "No," Velrax growled. "No," he charged one last time. He was desperate now. Reckless. He threw everything into one massive attack, both fists hammering down. If it connected, it would shatter bones. Minho did not dodge. Instead, he stepped forward. Into the attack, not away from it. He moved inside Velrax's reach where the long arms lost their power. His shoulder hit Velrax's chest. His hands grabbed Velrax's arm. Then Minho used a throw, a simple judo throw that humans had been doing for centuries. He used Velrax's own momentum against him, used his weight and anger and desperation. The physics did not care how strong Velrax was. The physics were simple and absolute. Velrax flew through the air. His massive body crashed to the ground. The arena shook. The crowd gasped. Velrax tried to get up. His arms would not support him. Minho had damaged the nerve clusters. Everything was pain and numbness and confusion. He managed to get to his knees. Minho was already moving. He came in fast. His knee hit Velrax in the ribs hard. Once, twice. He heard something crack. Velrax doubled over. Then Minho grabbed Velrax's arm. The same arm that had struck Hyunwoo. The same arm that had hit him over and over in the training room. Minho twisted it. Locked the elbow. Applied pressure at exactly the right angle. The bone broke with a sound like a branch snapping. Velrax screamed. It was not a roar of anger. It was a cry of pure pain. He collapsed onto his side, cradling his broken arm. His yellow eyes were wide. There was no arrogance in them now. Only shock and agony. But Minho was not done. The anger that he had kept cold and controlled throughout the fight was still there, still burning. Velrax had broken Hyunwoo's jaw, had crippled his dreams, had hurt so many humans and called it teaching. Minho stood over Velrax. The commander looked up at him. For the first time, there was fear in those alien eyes. "Please," Velrax gasped. "I yield." "I yield." "You should have yielded sooner," Minho said. His voice was calm, cold. "You should have yielded before you broke Hyunwoo's jaw, before you fractured Yoonji's ankle, before you hurt all of them. I said I yield." "The fight is over." "Not yet." Minho's final strike was not fancy. It was not a complicated technique or a pressure point attack. It was a simple, straightforward punch. He put his whole body into it. All his weight, all his momentum, all his anger at every injustice and cruelty and humiliation. His fist connected with the side of Velrax's head, right on the temple, the weakest point on a Crithian skull. Velrax's eyes rolled back. His body went limp. He collapsed completely unconscious before he hit the ground. Silence. Absolute silence in the arena. Minho stood over his defeated opponent. He was breathing hard. His knuckles were bleeding. His body ached. But he was standing. Velrax was not. Admiral Thorvik floated down. He checked Velrax's vital signs. Then he raised an arm. "Winner, Cadet Minho Kim." The human section exploded. 15 cadets screaming and cheering and crying. Jiwoo was jumping up and down. Soon he was shouting something. Instructor Choi had his hands over his face. The rest of the arena was still silent. Hundreds of alien cadets stared in disbelief. A human had just defeated a Crithian commander in single combat. It was not supposed to be possible. Medical teams rushed onto the arena floor. They surrounded Velrax, checking his injuries. Broken arm, cracked ribs, concussion, multiple nerve damage sites. He would live, but he would be in medical for weeks. Minho walked toward the exit. Every step hurt. His legs were shaking. Adrenaline was leaving his system and pain was rushing in to replace it. But he kept his head up. He kept his back straight. As he passed the galleries, he looked up at the aliens, made eye contact with as many as he could, let them see his face. The first morning after the fight, Minho woke to find a crowd outside his door. Not a hostile crowd, a curious one. Cadets from different species waited in the hallway. Some wanted to congratulate him. Some wanted to ask questions. Some just wanted to see the human who had knocked out Commander Velrax. Jiwoo pushed through the crowd and entered his room. "You need to see this," she said, holding up her datapad. The fight had gone viral. Every cadet in the academy had watched the recording. But it had not stopped there. The video had spread throughout the coalition networks. Millions of beings across dozens of worlds had seen it. Humans fighting back. Humans winning. The comments were divided. Some praised Minho's skill and courage. Some called it a fluke. Some demanded investigations. But everyone was talking about it. Nobody could ignore it. "There's more," Jiwoo said. She pulled up official academy notices. The Coalition Defense Council has moved up their review. They're meeting today instead of next week, and they want you to testify. Me? You challenge the teaching methodology. They want to hear from you directly. Minho got dressed slowly. His body was stiff and sore. Every movement reminded him of yesterday's fight. But he could move. He could stand. That was enough. Instructor Choi met him in the hallway. "Ready?" he asked. "No." "Good answer. Neither am I." Choi started walking. Minho followed. "The council is not happy. Some members think you went too far, breaking Velrax's arm after he yielded. He did not yield until after I broke it. That's not how some people remember it. The video is clear, but perspective matters in politics." Choi glanced at Minho. "Be careful what you say today. These are not academy instructors. These are planetary representatives. They can end human participation in the coalition military with one vote. Then maybe they should." Choi stopped walking. "What? If the coalition wants military forces that hurt their own students to prove points about strength, maybe we do not belong." Minho met Choi's eyes. "I will not apologize for defending myself. I will not apologize for refusing to accept abuse as education." Choi studied him for a long moment. Then he smiled. "Good. Do not back down in there. They respect strength. They respect conviction. Show them both." The council chambers were enormous. The room was circular, with seats rising in tiers around a central platform. Representatives from 40 different species sat in designated areas. Each species had different requirements. Some needed water tanks, some needed low gravity fields, some needed complete darkness. The technology to accommodate everyone was staggering. Admiral Thorvik stood at the center platform. He gestured for Minho to join him. Minho walked across the open floor. Hundreds of alien eyes watched him. He kept his back straight and his head up. "The council recognizes Cadet Minho Kim," Thorvik announced. "He stands as both challenger and witness in the matter of teaching methodology review." A voice boomed from the upper tiers. It belonged to a Krythian representative named Korvar. "The cadet stands as an attacker. He brutally assaulted an instructor. He should be expelled and prosecuted." The cadet issued a legal challenge under Article 47. Another voice countered. This one belonged to Ambassador Yoonji Han, the human representative. He followed all protocols. "The combat was sanctioned. Sanctioned combat has rules," Korvar said. "He broke his opponent's arm after the yield was called." "The recording shows otherwise," Yoonji replied calmly. Commander Velrax yielded verbally, but continued to be a physical threat. The final strike occurred within legal combat parameters. The arguing continued. Different species took different sides. Some supported Velrax, some supported Minho, some just wanted the controversy to end. Finally, a voice cut through the debate. It was deep and ancient. It belonged to Counselor Thane, a species so old that nobody remembered their homeworld's name anymore. "Enough, let the cadet speak for himself." The chamber went quiet. Minho felt all those eyes on him again. "Cadet Kim," Thane said. "Why did you challenge Commander Velrax?" Minho chose his words carefully. "Because he was wrong. Not just wrong about humans. Wrong about teaching. Wrong about what makes a warrior." Explain. "Commander Velrax believed that pain was the best teacher, that you had to break students to make them strong, that the weak should be removed from combat training." Minho paused. "He broke my friend's jaw to prove humans were fragile. He designed training specifically to injure us. He collected data on our failures to present to this council. He wanted to eliminate humans from military service entirely. And you thought violence was the answer? Korvar demanded. No, I thought the answer was proving him wrong. Minho looked up at the Krithian section. He believed might made right. That the strong should dominate the weak. That physical power was the only thing that mattered in combat. So I showed him he was wrong. I used technique over strength. Speed over power. Intelligence over brute force. You humiliated him, Korvar said. I defeated him. There is a difference. Minho's voice was steady. I do not hate Commander Velrax. I do not even blame him entirely. He was taught that his way was the only way. His culture, his training, his entire life told him that predators rule and prey submit. But the galaxy is bigger than that. Evolution is more complex than that. You think you understand evolution? Someone scoffed. I think I understand adaptation. Minho turned slowly, addressing the entire chamber. My species did not evolve to be the biggest or the strongest. We evolved to be smart, to work together, to use tools and strategy. We survived ice ages not because we had thick fur, but because we made fire. We crossed oceans not because we could swim for days, but because we built boats. We reached space not because we had wings, but because we had curiosity and determination. He pointed to the windows where stars were visible. Every species in this coalition has something that makes them special. Krithians have strength. Tyrellians have multiple limbs and compound vision. Others have natural weapons or armor or abilities humans will never have. But humans have adaptability. We have the ability to look at any problem and find a solution. That makes us valuable. That makes us worthy of being here. Fine words, Thane said. But words are easy. Your actions in the arena were brutal. Yes, Minho agreed. They were. And I am not proud of that. But Commander Velrax gave me no choice. He would not listen to complaints. He would not respond to official protests. The only language he understood was force. So I spoke in a language he could hear. And the broken arm? Korvar pressed. After he yielded? He yielded with words but not with action. He was still a threat. I ended that threat. Minho looked directly at the Krithian representative. In your culture, is it not true that a warrior must be certain of victory before stopping? That showing mercy to a dangerous opponent is foolish. Korvar was silent. I used Krithian philosophy against a Krithian teacher. Minho continued. I learned his lessons better than he expected. Is that not the mark of a good student? Some of the council members made sounds that might have been laughter. Others looked thoughtful. The mood was shifting. Ambassador Yunji stood. The council should consider the full context. Commander Velrax injured multiple cadets under the guise of teaching. He created a hostile environment specifically targeting one species. He violated the spirit of coalition equality, while hiding behind the letter of cultural protection laws. Cadet Kim's actions, while extreme, were a direct response to institutional failure. We failed to protect our students through proper channels. He protected them the only way left available. Are you suggesting the coalition failed? Someone asked. Yes, Yunji said simply. We did. Our laws protect cultural teaching methods. That is important. Diversity makes us stronger. But those same laws were being used as weapons against a newer member species. We allowed abuse to be called education. We allowed discrimination to be called tradition. Cadet Kim simply shone a light on that failure. The debate continued for another hour. Arguments flew back and forth. Data was presented. The fight was analyzed from every angle. Medical reports on Velrax's injuries were compared to medical reports on the cadets he had hurt. Finally, Councillor Thane called for order. We have heard enough. The council will now vote on 3 matters. First, the status of Cadet Kim. Second, new regulations on teaching methodology. Third, the future of human participation in coalition military training. The voting took place electronically. Results appeared on screens throughout the chamber. On the first matter, Cadet Kim's status, the vote was close but decisive. He was cleared of all charges. The challenge was deemed legal and proper. His actions in the arena were within the bounds of sanctioned combat. Korvar objected loudly, but was overruled. On the second matter, new regulations, the vote was nearly unanimous. Teaching methods that caused permanent injury would now require student consent. Cadets would have the right to refuse training that violated their species' physiology. Cultural teaching would still be protected but with oversight. On the third matter, human participation, the vote was again close. but it passed. Humans would continue in all military roles. Commander Velrax's report was officially rejected. The data was deemed manipulated and biased. Minho stood very still as the results were announced. He had won, not just the fight but the larger battle. Humans would stay. The rules would change. It was more than he had hoped for.